Hey y'all, so the energy has been one of release, one of letting go of old ways of moving through changes, old ways of moving through transformation and direction changes. And there seems to be a lot of clarity coming in, but at the same time, if we try to grasp the clarity too much, if we try to ground it down from an egoic place, we may find ourselves lost again. And I talked about this in my last video, this idea of trying to release control, or not trying, but being called to release control and being called to have deep trust. Because the more definitions I try to put on things from my own human perspective, from my own egoic perspective, I find myself losing it. I lose my grip on it. And there is this sense of all of this transition that I've been experiencing, and perhaps that we've all been experiencing, is trying to get us to a more authentic sense of freedom. And freedom can be scary because it is that surrender, it is that letting go, and trusting that where we are led is where we're meant to go. But where we're led could be vastly different from how we've done things. It can be vastly different from our understanding of where we're going. And if we've been attaching to things, so for me, I've been attaching to the astrology and being like, okay, this is something solid that I can focus my attention on. And I really saw a future with that, even though they've told me a long time ago that the astrology really was just a stepping stone and a foundation that would be a foundation for everything I do for the rest of my life. That understanding the astrology would be a tool that I would always have in my toolbox, but I wasn't going to be an astrologer per se. Which, I mean, I wasn't overly attached to begin with, but even then I was, finally getting into a rhythm with it and being in the flow of it. And then they just pulled me out of it. Like, we're changing directions again. And you're being asked to trust, and you're being asked to deepen your practice. And they're saying for me to deepen my practice and to let go of trying to figure it out, or let go of the need to know what I'm doing. So for me, going into meditation and being like, well, am I doing this right? And my ego response being like, well, I'm not having the experience that I expected to in 24 hours. And they're really asking me to let go, to know that when I trust what I'm feeling, and when I trust that energy, and when I go in and let go of the need for it to feel a certain way, or to feel legit, or to feel, whatever my egoic attachment to how it's supposed to feel in my head, and really just allow things to flow, I find the more I open up, the more I hear, the more I'm having conversations with my guides. And the imagery for this morning, when I was going through my morning practice, was definitely death and transformation and redirecting, and this sort of impact coming in, completely changing my course personally that I wasn't expecting. But I can't experience that change of course if I'm still holding on in any way, shape, or form, which again is scary. But at the same time, I've come this far, and I'm being asked to allow things to happen and to trust where I'm being led, and not to be so focused on, again, trying to understand. And perhaps they want me to come on this video and say that because I'm not the only one going through this. Working outside of the astrology, I'm still building my trust in my channels and what information I bring forth. But they wanted me to talk about that. They wanted me to talk about this idea of freedom is not what a lot of us understand freedom to be. It is this really radical letting go of our need to feel like we're in control, and to actually follow the energies and flow with the energies, even if it makes absolutely no sense. And to trust also in our gut, that feeling of, even though this makes no sense, it's exciting, or perhaps it's scary, but we know we're meant to go there, it won't leave us alone, and following those prompts. So the card for today is the ring. And the ring evokes a feeling of devotion, a feeling of commitment, of making a vow and sticking to it, even when we feel doubt, even when we feel we don't understand what's happening or where we're going, and perhaps we're being called for me, I'm being called to go into the underworld, to deepen my practice, to go into those more of those unknown energies. But this is also this idea of once we devote ourselves to stepping into the unknown and to following the energies and trusting where we are led, that's where we get the fulfillment from. That's where we get that sense of purpose from, and to really lean into our sense of purpose. And again, to be open to having our perceptions radically shifted as to what our purpose is. So I'm sending love for today and wishing you well. Bye.